A quick three-game trip down to Houston over the weekend netted a series victory as Chris Sale and Jose Quintana both posted wins in consecutive starts. Today, James Shields looks to make it 3 in a row to kick off a 6-game homestand before breaking for the Midsummer Classic. It's stars and stripes, barbecues and picnics. Sox and Yankees next on this 4th of July. A pleasant Independence Day to you and yours as we welcome you to U.S. Cellular Field. It's game one of a 3-game series between the Sox and the New York Yankees on the 4th of July. Thanks for joining us once again. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone along with you. And the Sox have won 4 consecutive series for the first time this year. 3 of those series against winning teams right now, Steve.
Sox have been doing just about everything right, and it's been a pleasure to follow this team these last 4 series because it's a complete reversal. Look at the last 13 games. They're 9-4, the batting average up close to 280, scoring almost 5 runs a game with 10-plus hits in 7 of those games. They're hitting the ball out of the ballpark, they're stealing some bases, and the pitching has been good enough for resurgent hitting attack. So you'd have to say that the Sox are coming together at the right time. It's the second half of the season. We played 82, Sox 2 over, and looking good.
We talk about reversals. James Shields got his first win as a White Sox player in his last start, and the last 2 have gone very well for him.
I think James Shields is starting to throw the ball well because he's been much more aggressive. He's going right at hitters. He's using his straight change now just barely out of the strike zone, but they can't check their swing if he's ahead. Last time out was very positive for him. I think that it took a lot of pressure off him because he looked like the Shields that's won 130 games in the major leagues. So James is going to have a big opponent today, and that's CC Sabathia. CC lifetime against our ball club is very good, and he's a different pitcher these days. He's had to adjust. He doesn't have the big fastball, throws straight change, throws a lot of sliders, and this guy is 19-5 against us for his career. He's been awfully good, but it's a different CC these days than it was when he was with the Indians.
Second time the Sox and Yankees have gotten together this year. The Yankees took 2 of 3 in the Bronx. First time around back in May. Celebrate your 4th of July with us. Enjoy your barbecue, enjoy some baseball. First pitch coming up.
You're playing America's game, and I mean, there's nothing better than going to a baseball game on the 4th of July and then after the game watching some fireworks. That's about as good as it gets.
Playing on 4th of July, it's very special. It's such an honor, and baseball's always been something that we would do on the 4th of July, watch baseball games, and to be a part of it, it's still very special to me.
Well, 4th of July, I was always playing baseball. So for me, that's I mean, I guess that's the tradition, is on the 4th of July, usually I was playing a game, whether it was a tournament when I was a kid or the last 7 summers playing in the big leagues. So I guess my tradition is I'm always at a baseball field on the 4th of July.
My favorite 4th of July foods are hot dogs, hamburgers, brats, pretty much any kind of meat you can cook on a grill. Oh, that's me. I man the grill, period.
Happy 4th of July, Sox fans.
James Shields leads the Sox out on Independence Day. The Yankees and the White Sox first pitch is just around the corner for you.
White Sox baseball on CSN Chicago is brought to you in part by Toyota. Discover more in a Toyota. Visit buyatoyota.com or your local Toyota dealer today. Let's go places. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Through it all. Audi. Truth in engineering. And by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV.
Welcome back to U.S. Cellular Field. Happy 4th of July to you as the Yankees and White Sox get ready to duel here at 35th and Shields, and a tremendous first pitch today at U.S. Cellular Field. It was thrown by Israel Del Toro, a Master Sergeant, Purple Heart and Bronze Star recipient, and boy, did he get it over.
He threw a strike and did a terrific job as Carlos Rodon puts his arm around him, and it helps to remind you what Independence Day is like and the sacrifice of so many for our country.
It's ongoing, minute by minute. Folks giving their lives and giving everything they could be in a civilian form for our military. Starting lineup for the New York Yankees, who are 1-2 on this road trip currently that spans 3 cities. Couple of guys missing. Mark Teixeira not in the lineup. Alex Rodriguez not in the lineup. But Carlos Beltran, with the 4th best slugging percentage this season in the American League, is in the 3 position, all the way down to Rep Snyder at 9.
Cricket Wireless defensive setup and how Robin is going to put him behind James Shields. Left to right, Melky Cabrera. Welcome back to the lineup, Melky, with Adam Eaton and Jason Coates getting a start today. Then it's Todd Frazier, Tim Anderson, Brett Lowry, and Jose Abreu with Deanna Navarro, who was hot in Houston behind the plate. And our Lexus Pursuing Perfection starting pitcher is James Shields, coming off by far his best performance as a member of the White Sox. Last 2 starts, he's thrown it pretty well. There are the combined numbers. They're not pretty. But this is a momentum game, and his momentum is straight up. Hopefully today he's throwing it well. The umpires for the game this afternoon. Bill Welke, the crew chief behind the plate. Marvin Hudson at first. Vic Carapazza at second, and DJ Rayburn is at third.
Well, you talked about the change for James Shields. Last couple of starts, an ERA of 3.09, first 3 starts, 21.81, not sustainable, and that has been altered the last 2 starts. The home run numbers are down as well from 5 to 1.
The man has won 130 games in the major leagues. He knows how to pitch. It's just a question of getting back to that natural aggressiveness that he had when he was consistently winning. Don Cooper imparted that to him between starts. He's worked on it. He's not lacking for confidence, which is a good thing in a pitcher. Hopefully he can bring it to the mound with him today and subdue these Yankees.
Well, he's not lacking for experience either. He's thrown the most innings in Major League Baseball since 2007. 2,075 and 2/3 innings. 25 more than Felix Hernandez. First pitch, strike 1. On Independence Day 2016. Thank you so much for joining us wherever you may be. Jacoby Ellsbury buckles and takes ball 1. Ball to strike on Ellsbury. 32-year-old, one of 5 30-plus-year-olds in the Yankees starting lineup. Two and 1 for Ellsbury. Yankees are hitting .247 as a team. That's 21st in Major League Baseball. But they don't strike out very much at all. Fouled away by Ellsbury. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
You just as soon not walk Ellsbury because he's one of their base stealers. 16 stolen bases this year. Gardner behind him with 12. And so they've got speed at the top of a lineup generally that runs, as Jason told you, some older players out there on the daily basis.
Called strike 3. Shields starts with a bang.
James gets that one. It's going to be a very tough day for Yankee hitters. As you see, the Honda pitch tracks will show you that it's a backdoor cutter trying to throw it on the outside corner. Gets the benefit of the call from Bill Welke, and so pitchers love to see that, especially with guys who can steal.
Here's another one of those. Brett Gardner in the 2 spot today, the leading runs scored man for the Yankees with 46 of them. A lot of lefties in this lineup today for Shields to face.
You know, that's a throwback to tailoring a team for your own ballpark. That's because Yankee Stadium, even back to the old stadium, short porch in right field rather, so they would stack their lineup with left-handers and make life miserable for right-handed starters.
2-0 on Gardner. Just 2 right-handers in the lineup today for the Yankees. Castro in the 5 spot, Rev Snyder in the 9 position. The rest are switch hitters or lefties.
Normally, if you're getting your changeup in the neighborhood and you're ahead of hitters, left-handers don't bother a right-hand pitcher, especially James Shields with that good change. So hopefully today he will stay ahead, and then the best changeup is out of the strike zone. You'll find the Yankees chasing a few of them.
Setup is outside. This one grounded to third. Frazier playing in has the second out of the visitors' first.
A little soft ground ball to the left side, and good movement on that fastball. So we can't get much of the bat on it, and playing well off the line, that ball hit right at Todd.
Sox sporting their 4th of July jerseys today, along with the Yankees. First time these teams have played on the 4th of July since 1995. Mariano Rivera was the starting pitcher that day for the Yankees.
In years past, you wouldn't want to play the Yankees on July 4th because the Yankees always drew big crowds anyway.
In the air, center field, Adam Eaton completes a leisurely 1-2-3, top of the first for James Shields. The Sox take aim at CC Sabathia coming up after this. Astros, the offense was a part of it. Tim Anderson at the top spot, hitting .300. Jose Abreu on a 6-game hit streak, and Melky's back in the 5 spot.
Let's take a look at the Cricket wireless defensive setup and how Joe Girardi is going to line up his Yankees for the game this afternoon. It's Gardner, Ellsbury, and Hicks in the outfield with Chase Headley, Didi Gregorius, Starlin Castro, the former Cub, Rob Refsnyder at first base. Ryan McCann gets the duties behind the plate, and our Lexus Pursuing Perfection starting pitcher is big CC Sabathia. By big, we mean 6'6", in excess of 300 pounds this year, on for the 14th time, 5-5, a fine ERA of .317. He was pushed back one day. The reason is they were in San Diego, and with his knee problems and ankle problems, they didn't want him to have to swing the bat and run the bases, so they're pitching him back in the American League, where he can leisurely sit between innings.
And he will face the Sox' Tim Anderson, Adam Eaton, and Jose Abreu here in this first inning. You mentioned that the Yankees were in San Diego just yesterday. That's a long trip to play a day game today.
The game was right around a little over 3 hours, and they actually made it to their hotel around 1 o'clock. So it's not awful, except it is a very early game for that kind of travel. But that's okay because it's them and not our ball club.
Yeah, the Sox were just down in Houston. Quick 2-hour, 15-minute jaunt, and back home, wheels down by about 8 o'clock. Ball to strike to Anderson. And he takes strike 2. Well, that is that's some special headgear right there. That's a baseball alien, I think.
It is exactly that.
Alf meets our national pastime. 1-2 for Anderson. On the ground, Refsnyder's off the bag, nobody home, Tim safe.
Well, that's where the CC of old, who was very athletic, would have actually been to first base. These days, with his bad knee, he wears a brace for it. He didn't go to the bag, and there was no way that Refsnyder, who is a middle infielder by trade, could beat Anderson to the bag. So yet another hit, and normally when Tim gets a base hit, that means he's going to get at least 2. Good effort by Refsnyder, but he comes up just a touch short.
Anderson well on his way to his 12th multi-hit game in 23 Sox appearances as Eaton stabs a bunt foul. These two, since being 1-2 in the lineup as of June the 13th, are hitting a combined .310.
And what's kind of surprising in that .310 is not that they're hitting that well, that Adam Eaton 1 is adjusted to the 2 spot as well as he has, but also for a man who says he is not a home run hitter, Tim Anderson has as lively a bat as you'll see. The last swing, not representative of the life he has, but he almost hit one opposite field out of Houston's ballpark, which is not an easy task. And we've seen him with 3 home runs already. So when he gets a good piece of it, it goes. He's going to hit 20 home runs in the not too distant future. Not combined in one season.
Time called by Eaton.
Last 19 games, Adam Eaton hitting .312. The big factor is scoring 16 runs. That's a product of the guys behind him. He's driven in 8 of them himself with 6 extra base hits.
And he bunts it foul on 2 strikes. 1 away. An interesting choice. And
Yes.
Abreu will bat.
Probably a good play if you get it down in fair territory, and not such a good play if you don't. But apparently he feels he either doesn't see the ball well against CC, or he felt that there was a gift base hit out there for him, especially with the mobility of Sabathia these days.
0 for 5 career for Eaton against the 35-year-old CC Sabathia, and now Abreu, who's on that 6-game hit streak, and takes ball number 1 from CC Sabathia.
CC in his glory days with the Cleveland Indians, Milwaukee Brewers, and when he first came to the New York Yankees, Could rush the ball up there 96 miles an hour. Plus it had sink on it, had a lot of run on it. Those days, however, by the boards, the big left-hander who started back in 1998 in the minor leagues.
In search of his 220th career major league win, Karsten Charles Sabathia.
One of the most successful left-hand pitchers in the history of the major leagues. And as he wins each and every time out, he moves up a couple of notches in that pretty much highly regarded area.
Abreu punches it to right, and Hicks is there for the second out of this first inning. Picks to click on July the 4th. Steve Stone has once again just put it in your book. Gone with Melky Cabrera. Cruz got Todd Frazier. I'll take Brett Lawrie.
I did not pick Melky at all in Houston, I'll have you know.
Appreciate your restraint.
And I did not pick him in the final game of the last homestand. So every day would be stretching it just a touch. Of course, he didn't play those games, but don't let the facts stand in the way of a good story.
Have you ever taken somebody in picks to click that's not been in the lineup?
I've tried.
There are barriers to that sort of thing as Frazier takes ball number 1. Todd had a nice series that first time around against the Yankees. He was 3 for 10. That's essentially home for him, Toms River, New Jersey.
And Anderson looked like he was ready to take off at first base, only to come to an abrupt stop.
Sabathia slides home with ball 2 on Frazier.
CC has never had what you would call a great move to first base. What he uses, almost without exception, is a slide step. So he gets the ball to home plate pretty quickly for a big man from that set position.
Ball 3 to Frazier with Melky on deck.
Hopefully Robin decides to give him the 3-0 green light. You would think so if CC gets a little careless.
That's a strike to Frazier. 3 balls, 1 strike. By his reaction, it looked like maybe the green light was there.
Well, I think he had it. He just, for whatever reason, didn't like that particular pitch. Now, if you decide to send Anderson, not a bad time to do it.
On 3-1. There's ball 4. 2 on for the Sox in the first inning in this homestand opener.
Take a look at CC with the Cleveland Indians. 106 and 71. Those were some good but not great Indian teams. And with New York, 102 and 61. So he's had some better teams in New York. The ERA down a little bit. It's a much better park to pitch. His starts very similar. Complete games. Nobody completes many games these days. And strikeouts almost identical.
Remarkably consistent for his career.
He's been that.
Over the long stretches. 2 on for Melky, who braces for strike 1 from CC Sabathia. Melky came up in the Yankees system, then was finally traded back on December 22nd of 2009. Boone Logan, Javier Vasquez in the deal. Melky to Atlanta, along with a couple others.
Last couple of good years for CC with the Yankees before knee problems really set him back. 2011, 19 and 8. 2012, 15 and 6. A 3-point ERA and a 3.38 ERA respectively in 11 and 12. And the disabled list has got him a number of times since then.
Popped it up. Ref Snyder in foul ground for the final out. Leadoff single, 2-out walk. No runs across. We're scoreless through 1. Beautiful blue canopy, normally overhead here at U.S. Cellular Field, but not today. A little overcast. You can follow Dan Hayes, our White Sox insider, all season long on CSNChicago.com. Presented by The Great Escape. Pools, patio furniture, hot tubs, and more. Escape your everyday. Shop The Great Escape. Maybe that's a real-life nephew of your Uncle Sam here on the 4th of July. It looks like he could be a pugilist in the future.
It's a good look.
Yeah. Brian McCann, a fly ball to center field. Adam Eaton is there on the warning track for out number 1.
McCann very strong. Yankees got him as a free agent, and that shows you that the wind is blowing a touch to center field, because that one rode Adam all the way back to the track.
Adam Eaton playing center today. J.B. Shuck has been the center fielder regularly. He's a left-hander, so he sits against Sabathia. Jason Coates is in right field, and there's your movement in the Sox outfield this afternoon.
Stalin Castro has been swinging at just about everything, and American League pitchers have taken advantage of that.
Mr. Castro takes a strike. 14 walks, 54 strikeouts for Castro, who is 0 for his last 12.
He had some exceptional years with the Cubs. These days, unlike his days with the Cubs, moving to second base, although in his latter time with the Cubs, he was playing second. Came up a shortstop and had great offensive skills for a period of time.
He's the youngest Cub player ever to lead the National League in hits, with 207 of them back in 2011. Lined over short, and the Yankees have their first base runner. If only Tim Anderson were 8 feet tall.
I'd have had that one. He was playing him too low. So the perfect game and the no-hitter broken up with one swing of the bat. After an inning and a third, Starlin Castro drives one. Not particularly well hit, but a base hit to left.
To bring up Didi Gregorius, who's on a 7-game hit streak as he stands in with that .291 batting average. Boy, the Yankees are a really interesting team as we move toward the end of July, because they have those cogs in the bullpen. We've been talking about them without the Yankees in town, that there are some pieces that contenders would want if the Yankees were to divest themselves of those pieces.
Especially Andrew Miller, Aroldis Chapman, as you see Joe Girardi in his 9th year with the Yankees. He's had a very good run there.
15-year major leaguer himself.
And out of Northwestern, degree in chemical engineering, and they don't exactly give those away. Joe is a very smart fellow. Talked with Joe and his son Dante. They had a makeup game that had fly back to Detroit on an off day, play the Tigers. We were at the same hotel, had a chance to talk with Dante, who's a good-looking player in his own right, and Joe.
Line to right field, Jason Coates in hot pursuit of out number 2.
This is a changeup, and Gregorius goes out and gets it. It's in a good spot. He hits it well. The man who originally came up with Cincinnati, only to find his way to Arizona, and now the Yankees, lines out.
He was in a trade involving Matt Albers.
That was an extensive 3-way deal. There was lots of players in that.
That's one of those you wonder exactly how many pieces of paper they used to hammer it out. First pitch is outside to Headley, who's hitting .245.
Headley, a full season last year with the Yankees, came over in 2014 out of the San Diego organization. One of the great names traded for Yangervis Solarte. Don't find many Yangervises anymore.
Why do you think that is?
Well, it's a common name. I don't know.
That ball's hammered to right field and deep, and this ball is out of here for Chase Headley. His second home run of the year against the Sox.
Just his 6th home run of the year. He's now driven in 23. So a Ford home run replay. Looked like he tried to throw a cutter inside, actually got it inside, but Headley able to get the good part of the bat on it and takes it out of the yard.
Guy who had his first extra base hit of the year against the Sox goes deep in the second inning today and gives the Yankees the opening lead of this series.
That's 16 home runs this year, given up by James, his 7th as a member of the Sox.
Free swinger Aaron Hicks down 0-2.
Hicks came to the big leagues with Minnesota, and they absolutely loved him. I mean, he was the #1 draft choice for him. They gave him every opportunity, a number of opportunities to secure that spot. Now they have Byron Buxton, another former #1 draft choice, playing their center field. Hicks has got very good size, excellent speed, a really good arm, and he'll keep getting opportunities because of just the physical skills. They can be overwhelming, but he hasn't put it together consistently with the bat.
Strike 3 for Shields, his second punch out of the day, but the Yankees tap him for 2. A 2-out home run for Chase Headley for scoring today.
One to look forward to Miller time later in the game, brought to you by Miller Lite.
And while we're at it, we remind you, Sox fans, our pregame patio parties are the best deal at the ballpark. Patio tickets are all inclusive. With purchase, you receive a game ticket and can enjoy an all-you-can-eat buffet catered by Baseball Buffet, as well as wine and Miller beverages. Patio opens 90 minutes prior to the game and closes 30 minutes after the start of the game. To purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com/group.
Can you pre-record that for me, because it's very long and I have to read it on the road, so that would be good.
You don't think that would come out of thin air? Laurie fly ball to right field. Aaron Hicks tails it to the warning track, and one away for Navarro.
Brett's been very good lately, and he's picked it up in hitting home runs, runs batted in, every aspect of his offensive game. The defense has certainly been good enough. In the hustle, without question.
He's been a doubles machine. 22 of them before the All-Star break. Looks like he's going to shatter his previous career high, which came last year. Just shy of 30.
Would that be 29?
Mm-hmm. Well done, Mr. Holmes. Strike to Navarro to start his at bat.
He also had a very big Houston.
One strike on Navarro and a fly ball foul.
And a good series.
Yeah. Sounded like a dinner plate.
4 runs batted in 1 ball game. As Robin employed both catchers in the lineup, which is something you don't see very often, but injury necessitated that as CC gets his 2nd strikeout.
Well, the idea behind that, Robin said, is look, in order to get an extra left-hander in the lineup against a right-handed starting pitcher, you put both catchers in there. You got Navarro, a switch hitter, and Avila, a left-handed hitter, so you can at least give yourself some lineup flexibility. Two out for Garcia. Sox had 2 out of the first inning but couldn't score. Trying to build a 2-out rally here, starting with Avi, who checks his swing and takes a ball, says Marvin Hudson over at first. Garcia 2 for 5 career against Sabathia.
CC was always not only overwhelming with his stuff, but very deceptive because he keeps his arm behind him for a long time. He's always had a very big body, and you couldn't pick up the baseball. That's one of the reasons why he's been as effective as he has. And these days, without throwing all that hard, he's still pretty effective because of that deception.
What do you think it looks like to a hitter?
Well, what I think is as he drops his throwing hand behind his leg and uses a hesitation, which he's always used, I don't think they're able to see the ball out of his hand quite as well. Plus, because he's throwing from well behind his body as he delivers the ball, like some guys, you can read it all the way, which is why left-hand hitters have a good time with sidearm right-handers. Because the object of any hitter is to see the ball as long as he can, pick up the ball out of the pitcher's hand if he can, and anything the pitcher does by way of deception to disrupt that vision works very much for the pitcher's favor.
We saw the other day Pat Neshek came in for Houston. That ball comes from his knee out of his shoulder, essentially.
Well, he was a conventional pitcher, and then he got hurt and had to make the adjustment. And that adjustment was, I'm not going to show it to you, and I'm going to come to you in sections.
Sabathia busts Garcia inside in a 1-2-3 inning for the Yankee left-hander. It's 2-0 New York.
advantage. As you can see, the last 9 home games, the Sox have been very good. 3-0 one-run games, a batting average over 306 runs per game. That'll usually get it done for you.
3 straight home series wins for the Sox to go along with 4 straight overall series wins. Team 2 over starting play today. 7.5 back of first place Cleveland in the Central as Ref Snyder takes a strike, 1-1. Indians and Tigers are playing today. Detroit is one of the hottest teams in Major League Baseball. 6 in a row for the Tigers to go 6 over.
And Danny Salazar goes to the mound at 10-3. Bud Norris just picked up. Different Norris.
Strike 3.
Not picked up.
1 out.
And we'll take a look at what the division shapes up as. Detroit getting a little closer to Cleveland, but 6 back in the loss column. Kansas City right there. And our Sox at 2 over, 7.5 back coming into play today. Daniel Norris pitching for Detroit. And Detroit, who has not been very hot most of this year, is starting to really heat it up.
Well, in the first couple series, the Sox have seen the offensive potential for Detroit. And when those numbers are all clicking, it's going to be a very tough team to beat, at least on the offensive side.
I think most people realized Detroit would score some runs. The question was pitching.
Tim Anderson for the second out. Ellsbury is 0 for 2.
He stayed right with that one as it hit the glove, bounced up, and he was still able to throw him out.
You were talking to Tim after the game yesterday in Houston about his defensive ability and why it's improved here in Chicago.
Yeah, I thought in spring training he was having a bit of a tough time, but he said one of the things, besides Joe McEwing, who's done a nice job working with him in the infield, is that the fields are substantially better. And, you know, that's the minor league fields, not spring training fields, but he feels that it's a huge advantage for so many things in the major leagues, but especially the consistency of the fields and how good the playing surfaces really are. You're not going to get too many bad hops. You just have to keep the glove down and come up with that hop.
Strike 2 on a breaking ball to Gardner, who bounced out to third back in the first. Of course, Roger Bossard does an absolutely marvelous job here in Chicago. Top flight Major League Baseball, even by MLB standards.
And Roger has built a whole lot of the fields in the major leagues. You don't realize how many.
Wrap to second, Brett Lawrie for out number 3. It's a 1-2-3 inning for James Shields as you celebrate the 4th of July with us. And Paul Konerko, Uncle Paulie.
Night. Be sure to use the hashtag SoxSocial during tomorrow night's broadcast for a chance to see your tweets or Instagram photos mentioned on air.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
That'll be great.
Will you be tweeting using the hashtag Sox Social?
No, I will be tweeting, however, but Sox Social, that's way too much to get in there on the tweets.
It's actually not that long of a hashtag.
I know.
It's pretty easy to
Anything
use.
over hello is mystifying.
Suddenly you're Alexander Graham Bell. Hello, Watson. Jason Coates, the leadoff man here in the third. Anderson and Eaton after. And a bullet for a strike to Coates, who had his first major league hit on June the 22nd in Boston.
Outfield a shade toward right center. There is a gap in left center.
Coates hits it hard and through. There's the second hit for Jason Coates. A leadoff single against CC Sabathia.
Jason did a nice job because that changeup was down. He stayed right with it. He wasn't in front of it. Hit it on the good part of the bat. And the Honda pitch tracks will show you where it is. It actually is a good pitch. It had the middle of the plate, but it was at the knees. And he's able to keep his hands back long enough to make good solid contact, shooting it by Gregorius.
Good to see for Coates. And now his former AAA teammate, now current Major League teammate, Tim Anderson. With Coates on, and there's a drive to center field. Ellsbury back, he looks up, it's gone! Anderson absolutely drills the first pitch, and we are tied at 2.
The more Tim Anderson keeps saying he's not a home run hitter, the farther the ball keeps traveling. That's his fourth. He's driven in 8. He loves the first pitch. CC got that one in almost the same spot as he threw it to Coates. And Tim Anderson, who doesn't like waiting around, swung at the first pitch, and our Ford home run replay is a drive to straightaway center field. All Ellsbury could do was look up because that one was long gone.
My goodness, did he just pulverize that baseball. And with that home run, another generous donation from the Alex Snellius family in loving memory of Ursula.
We've talked about the lively bat. He's a big, strong young man. And with his swing and the aggressiveness that he shows, he's going to hit a lot of home runs. And again, though he doesn't call himself a home run hitter, maybe he's a line drive hitter who will hit a lot of home runs, but we're seeing it in the early going.
Or maybe he's that great bowler that says he's not a very good bowler and then wins the league every year. Eaton has not seen Sabathia terribly well, and there's out number 1 here in the third. "15 home runs career entering this season for Tim Anderson. Then suddenly in the majors, he's got 4 homers in his first 23 games.
Well, the first thing we noticed when he came up was not necessarily the home runs because he didn't hit him when he started, although it's still very early in his major league career. But we noticed line drives and ground balls getting through the infield much more quickly than most. And that exit velocity, as they call it, is going to serve him well.
He's got 12 multi-hit games in his first 23. Gregorius can't handle it, and Abreu's safe.
I think the Yankees might want to take a look at this one to see. It's going to go E6 if the call holds. Messing with Joe Girardi on did they get him at the bag.
Yankees have been very good at choosing when to challenge the last couple of years.
This one just drops out of the glove. So Gregorius has got a chance at least to be charged with his 9th error of the year. Darrell Boston believes he was safe. And apparently Joe Girardi believes he was safe.
Frazier, foul ball back toward us, just below your seat, Mr. Stone.
And the 15 straight solo home runs goes by the boards, courtesy of Tim Anderson. Said it tied an all-time franchise record, and Anderson has put an end to what seemed like a highly unattainable streak.
Abreu was the last to hit a home run with runners on. That was all the way back in Boston, a 3-run homer during the road trip prior to the trip to Houston. One and one to Frazier. Fastball inside, 2-1.
That says he feels the home run coming. He said he saw the ball a little bit better in Houston. First couple of games he was jumping out at everything, out away. But he said he felt much better in yesterday's game.
2-2 on Frazier, who has the most home runs for a Sox third baseman prior to the All-Star break.
This is the 14th start for Sabathia. That's only the 5th home run he's given up. So almost without exception he keeps the ball in the park, but not to Anderson. There are your leaders. Mark Trumbo at the top with 24, Todd Frazier 23, then Encarnacion, Cruz, and Davis rounded out.
Over in the National League, Chris Bryant has 23, so Frazier tied for second in all of Major League Baseball. Frazier walked on 5 in the first inning. Now has run at full on 6 in the third. Abreu at first, 3-2. Punched foul.
It was very hittable. It was a fastball. It was right down the middle. Todd got under it. Take a look at our Honda pitch tracks, and the 7 will appear very hittable but foul.
3-2. Ball 4. Second walk for Frazier. White Sox fans, join us for Country Music Night as the White Sox take on the Atlanta Braves Friday, July 8th at 7:10 p.m. Be sure to stay after the game for a post-game fireworks show presented by Coca-Cola. To purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com/country. Todd's been very patient today. He is on for the second time, and Melky Cabrera has a pair on the old dusty trail for the second time today as well. Through the left side for Melky Cabrera. Abreu held up as Gardner got to it rather quickly.
But with a tie game and all, that could be the biggest hit of the ball game. Maybe not, but it's a big hit. Taking it through the left side, Melky continues his red-hot streak now that he's back in the lineup. This lineup missed him. I know they played very well without Melky, but he's been the most consistent hitter, and it's nice to see him back. Nice to see him healthy, because when he went down, the hitter has a wrist injury. You never know how long he's going to be down for.
There's a sprained right wrist, and you see the difference in depth in the lineup when Melky Cabrera is out of the lineup. He's been a very consistent hitter this year.
Melky a whole lot better from the right side than he is from the left. More power, much more power as a left-hand hitter.
Bases loaded for Laurie. Went after the first one he saw last time and flied out to Hicks and right in search of his 4th career grand slam. 0-2 against Sabathia, who, with his career dating back to 2001, is pitching on Independence Day for the first time.
Somewhat remarkable as you take a look at the bases. Full of White Sox with a chance to give James Shields a pretty big lead early.
0-2 on Laurie. High fastball. Coates singled, Anderson homered. After a strikeout, it's an error, walk, and single to load the bases around Sabathia. One and two. He got him at 92. Fifth strikeout for Sabathia in a big spot.
This is a perfect pitch. You see where McCann wants it. You see where CC threw it. Probably barely had a piece of the corner, and Brett went down on strikes.
2 down for Navarro. Who struck out on 3 last time up. Just 3 for 18 career against Sabathia, who misses high for ball 1.
The Anners hit it pretty well from the left side, struggling from the right. Inning 182 coming in.
Popped foul. Ball and a strike. Sox trying to break this wide open in the third.
It's really unusual for me to see a Yankee uniform, a Yankee road gray with red numbers.
4th of July. Togs today for the Yankees.
More reminiscent of the Minnesota Twins on the road than New York Yankees.
It's coming inside, 1-2 on Navarro.
That might have hit him if he didn't swing at it, but he fouled it off.
Abreu, Frazier, and Cabrera on base. They are loaded for Navarro on 1-2. Popped it up, short right field. Castro with the final out in hand. Sox get 2 and Strandham loaded. Tim Anderson once again flashes the muscle. His 4th home run. We're tied. 3 innings on Independence Day 2016. Thanks for joining us. He's Steve Stone. I'm Jason Benetti. Our entire crew, CSN Chicago, and thanks to all of you for making us a part of your holiday.
Carlos Beltran has had some hamstring difficulties. That's why he's the DH today, and A-Rod on the bench because of that. Get a little older, even though as productive as Carlos Beltran has been over the course of his career, the leg problems start to creep up on you, and that's what he's battling these days.
That bat will not be used again. Brett Lawrie discards Beltran. 1 out. And here's your Sox Math question for today. Hashtag Sox Math. First correct answer wins a prize on Twitter. Take the year in which the Declaration of Independence was adopted. Subtract the number of letters in the last name of the 2011 White Sox closer who was born on the 4th of July. Add the number of saves that player had in 2011. And divide the number of home runs the Sox hit in the first inning on July 4th of 2000. That is your Sox Math question for this afternoon. A very American bent on Sox Math today. 0-2 against McCann.
The base hit, the 2-run homer in the second inning. 1-2-3 first to 1-2-3 third, and trying to work on one again. For James Shields.
No walks, 3 strikeouts. That's good news.
Radical departure from when he came over, so he looks much more aggressive, much more in control, and the spots have been good for the most part.
Off speed and outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. That is the first 3-ball count today for James Shields.
Throws off-speed pitches over 60% of the time to the left-handers.
Through the shift it goes on a line drive from McCann.
And occasionally those off-speed pitches wind up in the outfield as McCann, who hit the ball very well the first time, lines a base hit this time.
Show you what you can win for Sox Math today. Our prize shelf contains that Sox Social t-shirt, the Altoids tin, a gnome with a Dean Martin hat on.
Gnome de plume.
Gnome de plume. You've got the Sox water bottle. There's a towel there as well, the Shark Week beach towel. Southpaw gear. Signed Southpaw pennant and the Big Hurt cookbook.
We have an abundance of Southpaw gear.
You can never have too much Southpaw gear.
Well, we'd like to make someone else as happy as we've been.
Starlin Castro takes ball number 1. He singled and scored back in the second inning. I haven't seen Southpaw yet today.
He will make his appearance here in the not-too-distant future.
Off speed for a strike to Castro. 1 ball, 1 strike. 26-year-old second baseman, Starlin Castro. They've started calling him and Didi Gregorius Starsky and Dutch. The double play combination with Starlin Castro's nickname and Didi Gregorius's national heritage, Starsky and Dutch.
Is that Starsky and Dutch?
It is.
Oh, good.
2 balls and a strike. McCann at first. To left field, hooking toward the line and fair into the corner as she goes. Melky gets to it. The Yankees won't score here. Castro into second base with a double. McCann to third.
James tried to throw that fastball up and in and try to throw it by Castro, but he was able to get the head of the bat on it, drive it down the line. So he is hitting the ball well today. And as you can see the location of that one, that actually is an off-speed pitch. Driven into the corner. That spot was not what James wanted. Cost him a 2-base hit.
So now the question is how you handle Gregorius here. Second and third, 1 out, tie game, 4th inning.
Not a good situation per this game because Gregorius hit a line drive right at Coates in the second inning, and then Headley hit a home run.
That's Headley who's next. And of all the Yankees, Didi Gregorius might be hitting the ball best coming into this series with 3 homers and 6 RBIs in his last 7 games. Mark Teixeira out of the lineup today. Alex Rodriguez, who's been platooning some, is out of the lineup today.
Teixeira, in the last year of his contract, by the way, has had all kinds of knee problems. That's really been plaguing him. They've had to put some fluid in there on occasion. He says he wants to play beyond this year, and he will try to do it as a free agent, and who knows where he will wind up. But he's been a terrific player.
Yeah, who just hit his 400th career home run, a multi-homer game in that finale at San Diego.
He's been one of the true rarities, a powerful, very powerful switch hitter.
Time called by Gregorius. McCann at third, Castro at second, 1 out in the 4th inning.
On a fly ball, McCann doesn't have much speed.
Ground ball, Abreu checks McCann back, taps the bag, 2 down.
And he also doesn't have much speed on a ground ball. But as Jose came on and smothered the short hop, McCann couldn't do anything. So a good pitch. He kept this ball down and away to a guy who's been a pull hitter. No run, and now you think about putting Headley at first base, taking your chances with Hicks.
Would you pull the trigger on that here if it were you?
I might give him a pitch, maybe 2. James has good enough control to not throw anything hittable in the first pitch or 2.
Headley a 2-run homer to right on a 1-0 pitch in his first at bat. Throw to third. McCann flops back in, and here is Headley. Shields trying to come inside and didn't get there.
Navarro looking over in the dugout to see if they do want to put him on first, but to this point, no. They might as well just put him on.
3-0 on that borderline 1-0 pitch. Didn't get the call. Moved it to 2-0. Now 3-0. And we shall see. There it is.
So Don Cooper taking a long, slow walk to the mound after an absolute pitch around. He's got him loaded.
Well, Aaron Hicks struck out on 4 in the second inning. You've seen Aaron Hicks for a while.
Yes.
How do you pitch him to make sure that the Yankees don't score here, or at least give yourself the best chance?
Well, the normal way you would think a right-hander would approach a left-hand hitter, which would be James' strength, which is change-ups, fastballs away, and if he cuts it inside off the plate. There's a look at Kenny Singleton, who does the play-by-play for the New York Yankees, has for quite some time, 30-some years as a broadcaster, teammate of mine with Baltimore, and he and Eddie Murray, back-to-back, hitting 3 and 4, were as powerful a switch hitters as maybe ever played this game, hitting 3 and 4. Year after year, they would drive in excess of 200 runs. And Kenny, one of the great guys in the game, epitomizes what Teixeira has been. Although he doesn't have the home runs of Eddie Murray, who hit over 500 and made the Hall of Fame. Kenny was a very productive player.
Yeah, Murray 504, second most for a switch hitter all time. As Shields has gone 2-0 on Hicks.
This gives a guy hitting just over 200 tremendous advantage of looking fastball wherever you want to hit it, middle in, middle away, and then taking a good swing at it.
2-0. Nice location.
Yeah, that was a perfect pitch. Hicks would have loved to hit the fastball. He got the fastball, but this was low and away, dotting the outside corner with good movement.
Back to 2-1. Hicks a long one. Right field, but not long enough. Jason Coates for out number 3. They strand them loaded. We're tied at 2 after 3.5.
E-Click Lending, whether looking to purchase or refi, never pay lender fees with E-Click Lending. Visit us online at eclicklending.com to lock in your low rate today. E-Click Lending. Point, click, and save. And just so you know, that is E-Click Lending.
E-Click. 2-2 your score. Bottom of the 4th inning at U.S. Cellular Field. July 4th is for the kids and the families and everybody here at the ballpark. A great crowd on hand.
Baseball and then home to the barbecue. That was always July 4th. Some of our players talked about their July 4th, and it always, as you would expect, was baseball and barbecues.
What was your favorite 4th of July? Do you have one that sticks out?
Not one specifically. I think I did throw against Pittsburgh one 4th of July. Kind of liked that one.
It went well. Broken bat. Bouncing ball, Ref Snyder. One away.
I think it did. I remember another 4th of July where I pitched in St. Louis, I believe, and it was 1,000 degrees like you experienced in Houston. And I remember losing 10 pounds during the performance. And I was walking up the runway. Ernie Banks greeted me as he was coming down from an air-conditioned clubhouse. He said, "How you doing? How you feel?" I said, "I feel very good, Ernie." He goes, "Really?" He says, "No." I said, "I feel terrible. I've lost 1,000 pounds." He goes, "But you look good." I said, "Thanks, Ernie." So that's my references of July 4th. It was very warm in St. Louis.
Some more of that heat that feels like an actual object that you can hold in your hand.
Well, you experienced it up close and personal in Houston. 95 and 95. Temperature and humidity all wrapped into one delightful package.
Oh, boy. A soaking heat. Pulled on the ground to Gregorius. High throw. Coates is safe.
And he's going to go to second base as that one wends its way out of the field of play. So it goes yet another E6. Some
E6 lending from the Yankees.
Gregorius has a hard time securing this baseball. I'm not sure he ever got a good grip on it, and rifles it over the head of Refschneider.
Second error against D.D. Gregorius in the game. Anderson already 2 hits deep.
We'll take a look at the 2-run homer, which put to rest 15 straight solo home runs. And with that White Sox run, E-Click Lending has donated $100 to the Pat Tillman Foundation, supporting military veterans and their families.
Fastball poured inside. 1 ball, 1 strike for Anderson. Tim, just the second Sox player all time with 11 multi-hit games in his first 22. He's made that 12 out of 23 with 2 hits already today. And he lays down a bunt third base side. Headley has to barehand to toss out the speedy Anderson. Coates into third.
Nice play by Chase Headley, and he is credited with a sacrifice. Although clearly bunting for a hit, but it serves a dual purpose. He's able to shorten up and lay down what would have been perfect if it was a little softer to third. Very good technique and well played.
So it's up to Eaton, who struck out twice today and has seen 7 pitches, all strikes. Sox trying to take the lead for the first time in the game. Two strikes on Eaton. Coates third after the error and bunt combination. Third strikeout today for Sabathia of Eaton, and the Sox can't score in the 4th. To the 5th we go, dead heat at 2. very tall, festive man. Happy 4th to you as we welcome all of our viewers, especially those watching on Muscatine Power and Water in Muscatine, Iowa. You know, the thing is, if you're watching on Muscatine Power and Water, we certainly hope your television is not in the water.
The Muscatinians are like that.
Yeah. We do not encourage television in the bathtub.
You do have to, however, be careful with the high five to the tall man, because a firm high five could knock him down easily.
That is very true. 2-1 to Rob Refsnyder, who's still looking for his first July hit, just a couple of games into July, for a Yankees team that's 40 up and 41 down. Halfway through the year, this is a line drive to right, sinking, and a sliding effort. Jason Coates is on and out number 1. Nice play.
Well, it looked for just an instant like Refsnyder would absolutely pick up his first July hit, but Jason Coates had other ideas. This is a hard hit ball. Jason comes on and makes the catch. James Shields awfully happy about that one in this tie game, keeping the leadoff man off base ahead of a couple of very fast runners.
Ellsbury, one of them. He's 0 for 2 today, and flashes a bunt for ball 1.
A few years back, he hit 32 home runs, and when he came up with Boston, everybody talking about the power of Ellsbury, although he had great speed. And that power just really showed itself for that one big year. He also had another few years later where he hit 16. Outside of that, not so much in the power department.
He's off of back-to-back multi-hit games against the Padres. The Yankees went 1-2 in that series out at Petco Park. Right field, catapulted to Coates. Out number 2. Here is your Sox Math answer for today. We thank you as always for playing. 1776 is the answer to the first part. 6 is the number of letters in the last name of the 11 White Sox closer born on the 4th of July, 1983. That's Santos, Sergio Santos. He had 30 saves that year, so 1770 plus 30 is 1800. Divide by 2 home runs in the first inning, July 4th, 2000. First 2 batters hit homers in that game against Kansas City. Ray Durham, Jose Valentin. The answer is 900. DJL 8 Night is your winner because Jack the Sox guy and SSSP Knowles were the first 2 in, and they are going to duke it out along with a couple others in our first half championship tomorrow. Only multi-time winners will be eligible. Everybody can play, but only multi-time winners will be eligible.
That was not a particularly easy Sox Math. That had some twists and turns.
Yes. Not easy. Throw to first. Nearly gets away. So catcher's interference has left Ellsbury at first as we were doing Sox Math. Officially catcher's interference called, and Ellsbury safe at first.
It scored E2.
Another throw to first, it gets away, and this time there goes the runner Ellsbury.
Here's catcher interference. Take a look at the glove. Just barely tips the webbing. And then you would certainly think there'd be another error charged. We'll have to wait and see who it's charged to.
Swinging strike for Gardner. It's an error against Shields. So with the interference and the error, suddenly there's a Yankee in scoring position. Count now, 1-2 strikes on Gardner, who bounced out in the first and bounced out in the third. Yankees on a 10-game road trip before the All-Star break. They will be in Cleveland just before the break. Tipped foul by Gardner. Boy, he and Ellsbury have seen Shields quite a bit with James' time in the American League East. Ellsbury now with 66 career at-bats against him. Gardner with his 46th career at-bat.
Those teams hooked up 18, 19 times every year when he was at Tampa Bay.
Tampa's really the only team right now that's fallen out of it in the East to this point. At 33-48, they had that 10-game losing streak. 14 back as play started today. The Yankees 7 behind. First place Baltimore at 13 games over. Two and two for Gardner.
Here's what it looks like in the East. With Boston pending a deal. Baltimore and Boston both looking for one more starting pitcher. Of course, there's a lot of teams could say the same.
We are just about 4 weeks away from that non-waiver trade deadline. Two and two from Shields.
Well, you might see a couple of preemptive trades to get ahead of the market. You're going to see a lot after the All-Star break into that trading deadline, especially the last week before it.
3-2.
James loves to throw that backdoor cutter, and that time Gardner was able to foul it off and stay alive.
On the ground, Ellsbury to third, 2 out.
That was a good battle, won by Shields. 9-pitch at bat.
Leaving it up to Carlos Beltran, who has flied out to center and grounded out to second. You know, our friends in Muscatine would like to see Shields pitch around this. We have folks watching from everywhere. Ground ball off the mound, and that's going to do it. Sox fans across the country rejoice. Ellsbury stranded at third, 4.5 deep, 2-2. It's a weird time for him right now because he's going on this rehab assignment, and if he feels strong, the All-Star break then kind of chops that in half. So maybe rehab, he said, after the All-Star break as well, depending on how he feels.
Well, I would think that 30 at-bats, especially minor league at-bats, and especially not wanting to re-injure the elbow, which was surgically repaired, probably going to take 7-8 games. And that would take him after the break.
2 strikes on Abreu. Normally, if the guy goes down and he feels really good and the team feels really strongly about it, you just call him up. But there's going to be that period of time where there's no International League game either. Can't play in Charlotte during the All-Star break because the All-Star breaks line up for the majors in AAA. Abreu goes down on strikes. Sabathia with his 7th punch out today.
CC's only given up 4 hits through 4 1/3.
One of those, a Tim Anderson 2-run home run, leading to our tie ball game. It's a lot of first pitch strikes there, Steve.
Well, CC's got to get a hit. I mean, his stuff is very short, but he's a smart pitcher, always has been. And he carried that 19-5 lifetime record against our Sox with an ERA of 3.68 coming in.
Well, when he was in the Central, I know Sox fans were tired of seeing him pitch.
Yeah. As a member of the Indians, he had a big moving fastball to go with everything else that he has, the smarts, the athleticism. These days, he's doing it on smarts and a lot of sliders.
Added that cutter in terms of significant amount of usage as well.
Season high is 8 strikeouts, so he's knocking at the door in this, the 5th inning.
He's walked Frazier twice. Tried to check it and did.
Maybe CC feels like Todd Frazier feels, and that he feels he's ready to come out of this. Fastball, cut fastball, and changeup. He's made 25 pitches ahead.
Frazier down the line. Fair ball rippling toward the corner and off the sidewall. Todd Frazier back into the double column.
We see why he's walked him twice. He knew that was waiting for him. As he tried to get inside on Frazier, that was one of those cutters. So he's able to bring his hands in. This pitch was inside and still get the head of the bat on it. So there's a go-ahead run in scoring position for Melky,
who singled back in the 3rd through the left side. Melky at .273 with runners in scoring position this year, well over the team average, which coming in was at .245. The sun peeking out. Melky has to dance out of the way. 2-0.
Sabathia, knowing how Melky loves to hit against his former team, has kept both pitches inside off the plate.
Laurie to follow. 1 out, Frazier at second. Two balls and a strike. Chopper, Sabathia off the mound, gloves, and sticks it in his pocket. First and third. Infield single for Melky.
A huge hit for Melky. It's almost painful to watch CeCe try to defend his position because he's had knee and ankle problems. He wears a brace on that right knee. So Melky doesn't get a good piece of it. But when CeCe has to come off, he has a hard time.
And that there is the reason you have to imagine that Eaton, for folks saying, well, why would you bunt with 2 strikes in the first at bat? Eaton lays down the bunt thinking about that scenario, you'd have to imagine.
And the fact also that he just is not seeing the ball very well from CeCe for whatever reason. He knew that coming in, so hence 2-strike bunt. Now Brett Lawrie with a chance.
Off the swinging bunt from Melky, first and third, and Brett's down a strike.
The last year when the front knee was bad, that's a landing knee, his right knee, what he would do was fall off the mound drastically to the third base side because he didn't have any stability. That's why he had the brace. This year the knee is much better, but the ankle has given him some problems, so mobility is a factor with CeCe.
Upstairs again, 2 strikes on Lawrie. Brett was up, bases loaded, 1 out in the third. Struck out on 4. Frazier at third, Cabrera at first. Lawrie pumps it in the air, center field. Ellsbury started in, now roves into the gap. Frazier tags from third, and the Sox for the first time today take the lead, 3-2.
Somewhat hard to believe, but that's the first sacrifice fly of the year for Brett Lawrie. So he made some contact, driving in his 33rd. And more importantly than that, it breaks the tie. Todd Frazier, who had doubled to lead it off, winds up scoring the go-ahead run. CeCe tried to cut a fastball up and in to Lawrie, couldn't quite get it there.
And Frazier, who's been on 3 times, comes around for the first time, leaving it for Navarro with 2 out. 0-1 on Deoner Navarro, who struck out in the second and popped out in the third.
Why you see that little padding on the top hand is because of the vibration of the bat. You'll get some soreness at the base of both thumbs.
Seen a couple of those fly off the last few games.
If you don't make solid contact, that vibration is eventually going to cause a bone bruise, and that's one of the reasons why hitters use either that, what they call the batting donut, or in this case, the batting donut and little rubber padding.
Navarro a drive left field. Gardner back at the wall, and it's gone. Second 2-run homer of the day for the Sox. 5-2.
Deoner Navarro. Home runs equally divided. 2-2 coming into this at bat. The Ford home run replay as CeCe tries to get it down and in. He doesn't get it there. And the padding wasn't needed on that one. That was a line drive rocket into the pen.
Some padding for the lead. And now Avi Garcia down a strike. So the Sox had a streak of 15 straight home runs that were solo homers. Now they are up to 2 in a row that are 2-run shots, which bodes well for grand slams in September. Breaking ball strike.
CeCe, as far as the long ball is concerned, came in throwing only 4, which is remarkable. And then only to give up 2 today.
Second lowest home runs per 9 in the American League entering play today. He misses inside. Ball and 2 strikes on Garcia. Fouled back into the very sizable crowd this afternoon at U.S. Cellular Field.
This turned into a beautiful day. It was hazy, overcast all day long until this particular inning, where the sun has broken through on both the Sox and the fans.
Love a good metaphor. Ground ball to second. Castro inning over. Sox, though, get 3 runs, a sac fly from Brett Lawrie, and Deoner Navarro with a 2-run homer. 5-2 the Sox as Navarro touches the plate.
Square off with the Yankees. Catch the first pitch at 7 on CSN Chicago.
You be there?
I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Tanaka versus Rodon. In that game, then the finale, Pineda Gonzalez getting together as we celebrate the 4th of July with you, wherever you may be. Steve's going to participate in the hot dog eating contest after the game.
Oh, Nathan's hot dogs? I would eat 2 or 2.5 and then call a halt to the proceedings.
You don't think you could go any further than 2 hot dogs?
I wouldn't want to, especially as they do it dunking the bread in water.
I think you could do better than you think. McCann's 1 for 2 with a single to right last time. You should join up with Major League Eating. You know, they do a lot of different foods, not just hot dogs.
I know you have a complete list of some of the other culinary treats.
How about 14.5 pounds of birthday cake in 8 minutes? That's an actual record.
Make it chocolate, we've got a deal.
Three and 1 from Shields. 3-2 on McCann.
First time today, James Shields has a lead. And that young lady is celebrating with nachos.
Well, there's no nachos record separately, but there is the ultimate eating steeplechase, which is shrimp, pralines, hot dogs, nachos, and gelato.
How do they get that combination in there?
You need a palate cleanser in the middle. 3-2 from Shields with the shift on. Another yanked grounder from McCann. How about 6 pounds of Spam in 12 minutes? Could you do that?
Maybe, but it'd be a bad next day for you.
Getaway day in a couple of ways. In the air, right-hand side. Laurie and Anderson meet, and Laurie makes the call and has the ball for round number 1. Come out to U.S. Cellular Field on select Fridays during the 2016 season and get 2 outfield reserve tickets and 2 food or drink items for just $49. Each ticket you purchase will include $8 in bonus bucks. That's more than enough to cover your first soda, beer, hot dog, or sausage. Visit WhiteSox.com/first for more information or to order yours today. Hope to see you out at the Ball Yard.
James Shields pitched his way out of a 4th inning that could have proven very tough.
And part of the reason was Starlin Castro, who doubled after McCann had singled. It was 2nd and 3rd, 1 out.
After the pitch around to Headley, he retired Hicks and got out of the inning, so he's been in some trouble. Giving up the 2 runs on the 2-run homer by Headley. Outside of that, made very good pitches. And I know he is absolutely ecstatic with the way things have worked out over the last 3 starts. It started at Fenway Park, making his comeback from a couple disastrous outings. Looked like he had a very good sense of where he was throwing the baseball against Boston. Followed it up with a performance against Minnesota, and today pretty strong.
Well, you've talked about before Don Cooper's ability to take guys who have struggled and then turn them into something more positive.
Well, that and the fact that Coop's always been good looking for bright spots in every performance, and James has great ability.
Gapper this time, right center field, and on one hop over the fence for a Castro double. He is 3 for 3.
Showing you the ability that he showed with the Cubs when he had 207 hits. So he goes opposite field with this one and dumps it 1 hop into the seats. That's a fastball down, but it's over the middle of the plate. And Starlin Castro, who hasn't swung it well this year and does swing at a whole lot of pitches, loved that low fastball.
We haven't seen that much today. James Shields hitting the fat part of the plate in the hit me zone.
No, he's been moving the ball in and out.
Yankees once again get a runner to 3rd with 2 out. That's Castro.
That was a good example of it, because knowing that Gorius also swings at a whole lot of pitches, he threw that ball just off the outside corner. Didi tried to roll over it. A harmless ground ball to second.
Chase Headley, the hitter, with his 6th home run of the season back in the 2nd inning, and a 4-pitch walk, as you said, the pitch around to load the bases last time up. Breaking ball, strike. Three hits against the Sox this year for Headley, all for extra bases. Just about the same spot. 0-2.
When we talk about either a backdoor cutter, backdoor curveball, we mean from a right-hand pitcher away to a left-hand hitter. The front door is trying to break it down and in. So Matt Albers starts to throw in a pen. James ready to deliver pitch number 93. And there's a look at Matt,
who had the entire series off in his hometown. Two and two from Shields to Headley. Castro at 3rd, the prospective 3rd run. In the dirt, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
very casual but very effective stop of the pitch by Deanna Navarro. He didn't try to catch it. He just made sure it couldn't get by. Hit the chest protector and rolled harmlessly in front of him.
39 balls, 55 strikes, but just one walk today for Shields. 3-2. There is walk number 2. And now, the question is, do you let him face Hicks, who he's handled well today?
I would, and I think Robin is Don Cooper wants to give Matt Albers a chance to get loose, and also his left-handed mate who has joined him.
Tying run will come up for the Yankees with Hicks.
Don has had his say, talking about what they want to do with Hicks, but also giving the bullpen a chance to get even looser.
How many pitches do you need, you think, to get loose?
A guy who's been in the bullpen for any length of time probably doesn't need more than 15 or 20.
And what do you think the total running time of those is?
Well, they can determine that depending on the severity of the situation, and is there somebody going to the mound, or are they letting the starter continue? So Duke has joined Albers. I would think that if they did have to go and get James, both relievers would be very well warmed up.
2 on, 2 out for Hicks, who struck out and flied out. Tried that backdoor breaking ball again.
Sometimes what pitchers will do, if in fact maybe there's been one trip to the mound in an inning, they will throw to first base 3 or 4 times to allow their relievers more opportunity to get loose. But that's not the case in this situation.
Headley at first, Castro at third. Just low, 2 balls, no strikes. Well, remember too, the Yankees have Mark Teixeira and Alex Rodriguez on the bench as possible pinch hitters for later on in this game. Ref Snyder to follow currently. 2-0 to Hicks. Three balls, no strikes. And there is strike 1 on Hicks. Runners at the corners, 2 down. 3-run lead for the Sox. And Hicks now runs the count full with a foul ball. What do you throw him here?
I think he's going to throw him something down and out of the strike zone and hope a very anxious Aaron Hicks expands that zone.
Three full counts in the inning. This last one to Hicks with runners at first and third. Payoff pitch from Shields. Right hand side, Coates ends the inning. Hicks a couple of flyouts with runners on. Shields gets out of it 5-2. Sensation sticks and stones. Steve, how'd you do against Bob Watson?
Well, see, this isn't really a fair question because Watson did pile up some good numbers while a member of the Houston Astros. So I know he hit at least one home run because he broke my heart.
Aww.
With 2 outs in the 5th inning, trying to struggle through a victory after Norm Miller hit me in the leg with a one-hopper in Candlestick Park. I can hardly remember back that far. He hit a home run on the first pitch changeup out in left field to tie it at 1, meaning I didn't get the win. I got yet another no decision, which was well ahead of my time because I was the Jose Quintana of my time zone.
So you're mad at the guy for getting a hit off you after you got hit with a pitch.
In 1971.
In 1971.
Yes, but I don't hold grudges.
No.
So I think Bob Watson did very well because he was a terrific hitter and could take the inside pitch inside out to right field, as well as hitting home runs on terrible changeups. I was to go on to pitch till 82 and still couldn't find a changeup.
You don't hold grudges, you embrace them. Two strikes on Coates. From Sabathia, Sox have 5 runs against him so far today. And Coates goes down swinging. Sabathia ties a season high with his 8th strikeout.
Time now for our Xfinity high-speed action replay, and its first hitter of the ball game, a squib. CC cannot get to first base, as we've seen later on, and Ref Snyder trying to beat him to the bag, couldn't. That was the first of the 2 hits by Tim Anderson, not near as important as the second of his 2 hits.
Which was a 2-run homer in the 3rd inning to tie the game. The Sox have scored 5 unanswered as Tim takes off speed for ball number 1. Mentioned that Anderson was the first Sox player with 11 multi-hit games in his first 22, now 12 in his first 23. The second player to do it, first one was Gus Zernial back in 1949 out of lovely Beaumont, Texas, down Houston way. How'd you do against Gus?
Gus had a lot of infield hits off me. Gus actually, I think, had no infield hits during the course of his career, but he was a very powerful man, as are so many of those Texans.
33 homer year back in 1951.
That was the live ball era. Ooh,
that could have been strike 3.
That's a break. If you're hitting, you consider yourself very fortunate you're going to see another pitch. In the zone.
Long look at Bill Welke as Anderson breaks his bat, rippling to Gregorius. Route number 2. We already have a good idea of what the answer is here, but let's get the numbers on your matchup with Bob Watson. Oh, look.
Yes, but that one home run,
oh, geez,
way back when, to me was just absolutely shattering.
He was only 231 against you. I mean, what?
Well, he weighed more than that, but I will tell you something about Bob Watson. He once offered me the assistant general manager job of the Houston Astros when he was the general manager.
Oh.
But because Humidity and I don't get along whatsoever, I turned him down to stay in the booth at the time.
Adam Eaton, fly ball left center field. Ellsbury back. This ball's off the fence for Eaton, who had struck out on 9 pitches. 3 strikeouts in his first 3 at-bats. Here he cracks a double to left center.
That one almost left the ballpark as Adam Eaton got a fastball on the inner third and down, and he put a charge into it. Bidding for home run number 5. Almost got it.
That's just about where his home run in the 7 home run game went to, into left center. And a round of applause for Eaton. Abreu swings through strike 1. Sox really didn't have to tax that bullpen much at all in the Astros series.
Now, there was some really well-pitched ball games, and Chris Sale didn't have his stuff early. He came on later on, Miguel Gonzalez threw it real well in the opener of that series, and Jose Quintana, one of his best jobs of the year. So you save the bullpen in Houston for this final homestand before the break, which includes an off day. So this bullpen should be very well rested and ready to go, and you would think you would see it in the 7th inning as James Shields has gotten through 6, giving up only 2 runs and 5 hits.
Downstairs, 2-1 to Abreu. Only 5 bullpen innings in that 3-game series. Sox got to rest Albers and Duke for an entire series, which at points this season looked like it was unfathomable.
And coming into that series, Houston offensively was red hot. So it was some excellent pitching which silenced a team that had a lot of power and a lot of speed in their home ballpark.
2-1. Abreu, a late decision and a half-hearted swing, 2-2. Eaton at second with a 2-out double. Sabathia to Abreu on 2 balls, 2 strikes. On the ground and foul. Yankees bullpen, on the other hand, Dylan Betances, Andrew Miller unavailable today, so it's a thinner pen for New York.
Before the game, Joe Girardi did announce that Nathan Eovaldi is taken out of the starting rotation and put in the pen for a couple of different reasons. Number 1, he throws 100 miles an hour. Number 2, they needed somebody for today. And number 3, he has not been particularly effective. ZRA over 5.5, 6-6. Looked like he was going to go to the All-Star game in the early going this year and then just lost it for whatever reason.
Pitch number 100, a full count delivery to Abreu. Gets him swinging for strike 3. On this Independence Day, USAA honors those who have served and all of our service members at home and abroad.
Lights, interviews, and more. Watch Sportsnet Central tonight at 6:30 on CSN Chicago. And we've got a new pitcher coming in the ball game, and it is Matt Albers. So James Shields is done. 6 innings, couple of runs on 5 hits, and Albers on for the 37th time. 2-4, ERA up over 5. So hopefully a rejuvenation with the series off in Houston will lead to a lively arm for Matt Albers.
He fires in strike one to Rob Refsnyder, who's nothing for two in this game. Matt last threw in the last game of the Minnesota series, the 6-5 Sox win on Thursday. Threw for a third of an inning. Fair ball down the left field line over Frazier, and Refsnyder scoots into second with a leadoff double.
See, Todd was even with the bag and off the line, and this chopper just barely eludes him. So now here comes Robin with Ellsbury and Gardner and the switch hitter Beltran coming up. He's going to make a call to the pen. And it's going to be a very short day's work for Matt Albers as he'll depart. Zach Duke will come in. We'll step out and be back after these messages.
August 5th, come see your Chicago White Sox take on the Baltimore Orioles, 7:10 p.m. All fans are invited to stay for a post-game fireworks show presented by Athletico Physical Therapy. Athletico Physical Therapy, better for everybody. Purchase tickets today by visiting whitesox.com or calling 866-SOX-GAME.
Zach Duke comes into this one. Our Hyundai call to the pen. 2-0 ERA just over 3.
Lob to left field. Melky on the charge. Melky has it. Out number one. And a round of applause for himself.
That's a great effort by Melky Cabrera, cementing his pick to clickage. Taking it right off the grass and making sure that the tying run, at least for the moment, does not come to bat. Good play by Melky, nestles in the glove and records the first out of the inning.
He has a lot of value around the diamond. Sox played 3 without him in Houston and 1 without him against the Twins. He is back in the lineup today. 2 very positive results. Now Gardner against Duke. And a breaking ball strike.
Zach Duke has been a busy man, on for the 41st time. Told you about the ERA. Left-handers have hit him considerably better than the right-handers. Right-handers hitting him at just 182. He's allowed just the 1 home run. Overall, a very strong year for Zach Duke.
Fastball 0-2 for Gardner, who's bounced out 3 times.
Brett Gardner did not pick up this baseball and actually swung when the ball was in Navarro's glove.
Typically does not lead to a hit.
No, unless you do hit the glove, which we saw today.
2 strikes. He drops down with a slider, 1-2. Yeah, that interference got Ellsbury on back in the 5th. As the Yankees have had base runners in the 2nd, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th today, but only scored 2 on the home run from Headley in that 2nd inning. 1-2 for Gardner. Strike 3 call. He painted it with a fastball.
He's standing at the plate thinking that Bill Welke expanded that zone, but that ball had the outside corner. Good pitch by Zach Duke. Freezes Gardner. Nice job of framing it by Deanna Navarro. And Gardner is down on strikes.
Leaving just 1 out to play with for Carlos Beltran, who's 0 for 3 today. How about Duke dropping down with a slider, then dropping down again with the fastball?
I think you have to. You can't just drop down with one pitch, because obviously then you're tipping the hitter. So you've got to change not only speeds, but you have to change the type of pitch you're throwing. That way, he's a 50% chance if he's guessing with you. But if you change speeds on both, then the chances go out the window, and now he's got to look for the baseball.
Over the top for a swinging strike 2 on Beltran.
For those of you just joining us, James Shields had a strong outing. 6 innings, 2 runs on 5 hits, 2 walks and 3 strikeouts. And he followed up a good outing against Minnesota with a good outing here today.
Still 0-2 on Carlos Beltran. That's a great sign for the Sox, because Shields, as we said, has the most innings of any major league pitcher since 2007, and if he's effective, you can work him a little bit more than the average starting pitcher.
The fact that he's always been durable has made him valuable, and the fact that he's won 130 games shows that he knows what he's doing.
Strike 3, Zach Duke, another magnificent inning for the Sox. God bless America coming in between the top and bottom of the 7th inning. And to sing it for you is the front man of REO Speedwagon, Kevin Cronin.
Ladies and gentlemen, of Major League Baseball's across America today in celebration of Independence Day, the singing of God Bless America is being performed in support of our country and our men and women stationed overseas. Please welcome back the lead singer of REO Speedwagon, Kevin Cronin, for the singing of God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the ocean wide with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home.
Summer camps are open to boys and girls ages 5 to 12 and are in over 50 communities. Learn to play the right way straight from the pros. Call 630-PLAY-BALL or visit BullSoxAcademy.com to find a camp near you. Yankees are into the pen, Steve.
It's Luis Cessa. And there you look at the numbers. On for the 6th time, 1-0 ERA, a touch over 3. It's 11 2/3 innings. Originally played shortstop in the Dominican Summer Leagues for the New York Mets. Then became a pitcher in 2011.
Yankees got him in a trade last December from Detroit. Cessa to Frazier. Ball 1. Todd's had a great day. 2 walks and a double. On base all 3 times. That major league low BABIP, batting average on balls in play, steadily climbing by the day for Frazier. And it continues to down the line into the corner. He's visited there twice and doubled twice. Todd Frazier on base 4 times.
Well, hitters know when they're going to break out of it. And talking with Todd after the Houston series, he felt like it was just a matter of moments till he started swinging the bat real well each and every time, and he was able to come to that with just 1 at bat in Houston. He said he was seeing it. He said it was looking different to him, and that he felt that he was going to break out of this, and that's exactly what he's done today. So a man who had an easy time hitting home runs and a tough time hitting doubles has a pair of them.
Well, he had 43 doubles last year.
Yeah. He's normally a doubles machine, except for this year.
Strike 1 to Melky Cabrera, now switching around to the left side with Sabathia out of the game. Every year that he played a full season of baseball, minors, majors, whatever, he's had at least 20 doubles. Frazier has, at the very least 20 doubles. Fastball up to Melky at 96, ball and a strike. Flick to center. Ellsbury on the move, still going. He slides, and Ellsbury is there to pull in out number 1, saving a run likely.
Great play by Jacoby Ellsbury, and as big a part of this is not only the catch, but the fact that he got up so quickly that Todd Frazier, who alertly was thinking about tagging up, couldn't take off. So Ellsbury on the dive made the play, going to his right, and then he's up very quickly to make sure that Frazier can advance. That was a good play.
The rare Red Sox and Yankees player, Jacoby Ellsbury. Here is Lori.
There was Babe Ruth.
Not many Babe Ruths either. Ball 1 to Lori.
He was the rare Babe Ruth.
Uh-huh. Red Sox are leading the Rangers today 8-4. A lot of day baseball around the majors. How about that game in Fort Bragg last night?
I thought it was great, the fact that Major League Baseball took a year, by the way, to help build that ballpark and get it to Major League specifications, and then played the game there. The Marlins winning it, but the fact that 12,500 servicemen showed up. It's the largest military base we have, and just a great thing for baseball, great thing for the people currently serving and the veterans to see Major League Baseball reaching out to the veterans.
1-2 on Lori, and great news for the community in Fort Bragg as well. That field is going to stay and become a softball field for use for the rest of time.
Well, they'll probably move the fences in.
I don't know. Look, you love to have a good challenge.
Yeah, I'd want to move them back, but they're probably going to move them in.
1-2. Lori, line drive, base hit, Frazier around third. Gardner's throw is late. Laurie to first. Save. 6-2.
Second RBI of the game for Brett Laurie, 34th of the year. And somehow he's able to get back under the tag of Ref Snyder at first base. Todd Frazier, the go-ahead all the way. Gardner doesn't have the best arm in left field, and Laurie well off the bag, thinking to go to second. Nope, got to get back to first, and under the diving attempt at a tag.
The phrase "can't stop, won't stop" has never applied to anybody more than Brett Laurie, who's driven in the total of 34 RBIs, but his hit streak continues as well. It's up to 7 as Navarro stands in. Sox building on that momentum. Series wins against Boston, Toronto, Minnesota, and Houston. And a ball for Navarro.
CC Sabathia was a starter for the Yankees today. He's always pitched very well against the Sox, but today a rough one for him. 6 innings, 5 runs on 8 hits, 2 walks, but 9 strikeouts. That's his season high. But he also gave up 2 runs. He'd given up 4 all year, 2 home runs.
Time called for a moment. Little housekeeping over at first. Marvin Hudson cleaning off the base that Laurie's occupying. Ball to strike on Navarro. There goes Laurie. Pitch inside. Throw to second is not in time. He's safe. Number 7 in 10 tries for Brett Laurie.
Tried to get to second base earlier and figures now is the right time. Vic Carapazza on the call.
Tag late. 2-1 for Navarro. I told you Laurie was the doubles leader and still is for the Sox with 22 of them. He even turned a single into a double.
He thought he was going to get there on the throw home, but thought better of it and then scampered back to first.
Ball 4. Sox have victimized Sessa for 3 base runners and 4 batters here in the 7th inning.
Here comes Larry Rothschild. Longtime pitching coach, former Major League pitcher, and confidant of Joe Girardi. Larry's been a good one for a long time, was also the Cub pitching coach for many years. He was also the pitching coach for the closer that's near and dear to us, David Robertson, when he was with the Yankees. So he's had his say, and Sessa will continue. Trying to keep it, from his perspective, at a 4-run deficit. That's been an artistic success. Both teams have made a couple of errors today, but they don't pay you. on artistic in this game. They pay you to win games and stay in the race. That's what the Sox are intent on doing. Things getting better as we move closer to the deadline. And they'll have to, because after the All-Star break, they're going to have to be very strong road warriors. There's a lot of road games coming up.
Garcia foul ball. Sox open out of the break, right out of the gate with a trip to Los Angeles and Seattle. 6 games on the road, then a quick homestand, 4 with the Tigers, 2 with the Cubs, then back to the road for the Cubs, the Twins, and the Tigers before another long road trip in the middle of August.
The Angels have really been scuffling, so that trip not as daunting as it might have been for a time. The Angels are 33-49 heading into today, 18.5 games back of Texas. They've only won 2 of their last 10. Seattle starting to play a little bit better. They've won 4 games in a row. And as soon as that pitching staff comes together, they're going to be difficult to beat in their ballpark.
2 strikes on Avi. 1-2. It's a big series right now for the Mariners. They're playing the Astros. That's top 9 right now. 2-1 Houston.
Especially important when you realize, and although everybody says we don't watch the scoreboard, they all know that Boston doubling up Texas 8-4. The bottom of the 7th inning in Boston.
One and 2 for Garcia. On the ground, up the middle, right to the bag. Castro. Inning over. Sox grab one more. Laurie singles home. Frazier. 6-2 after 7 on Independence Day.
Coverage of baseball brought to you by T-Mobile, and it centers around Mark Teixeira. Most career home runs by a switch hitter. Mickey Mantle at the top, Eddie Murray in the 2 spot. Then it's Chipper Jones, Carlos Beltran, and Mark Teixeira. 55th player in Major League history with 400-plus home runs. Says he wants to play after this year. He's a free agent after this year.
He's also the 7th player on the active list in home runs as well, with 401. Beltran 6th, Teixeira 7th in active home runs. A-Rod number 1 with his 695. We have yet to see Alex Rodriguez yet in this series. down the right field side and hooked foul by McCann.
There you see the 8 on the sleeve of Brian McCann, and that is for Yogi Berra, great Hall of Fame Yankee former catcher, occasional left fielder, and goodwill ambassador to the game for many, many years.
One of the great speechifiers.
He was a wordsmith. And just about every unusual saying is credited to Yogi.
If you see a fork in the road, take it. 1-2. A little bit low, 2-2 on McCann, who singled back in the fourth.
One of the great bad ball hitters in the history of the game. Despite not being a big man, he had range well exceeding nose to toes. He hit it off the ground, he hit it over his head.
Bouncing ball, Laurie can't find the handle on it.
It's E4, and he had some time because McCann doesn't have any speed. So an error starting out the 8th. And here comes Robin. It's there, but it bounds away. So Zach, who did a good job, is going to leave, and Nate Jones is going to trot on into this one, and we'll step out. Be back after these messages.
Left field at U.S. Cellular Field, accessible from the 100, 300, and 500 levels. Young Sox fans can learn baseball from White Sox Training Academy coaches. Don't miss the batting and pitching cages, base running areas, and be sure to check out the latest Xfinity technology, including the X1 platform. X1 by Xfinity. It'll change the way you experience TV. Nate Jones on for Starlin Castro. And ball one after a great outing from Nate yesterday.
A Hyundai call to the pen is Nate Jones on for the 40th time. 4-2, ERA 2.61. Talked to him after the game yesterday. He was very happy with his performance, and he threw it real well.
Castro to left center, and McCann to second. 2 on, nobody out for the Yankees in the 8th with a bubbling rally.
4 for 4 for Starlin Castro. As he gets a fastball on the inner third and drives it to left center field. So a very productive Independence Day for Starlin Castro.
He's at first, McCann at second. D.D. Gregorius is 0 for 3 as he stands in. No balls and a strike on Gregorius. Double play would be nice. 0-2. Castro now with his 13th career 4-hit game. First one came in August of his rookie year. Has never had a 5-hit game, Starlin Castro. And the hope is that he doesn't get the chance this afternoon.
That would be really nice if he were not to get the opportunity.
There's one out. Gregorius goes down fishing.
Good hard slider low and in. And Gregorius, who's been trying to pull everything, goes out to get it. It disappears.
Chase Headley way behind a fastball.
They reaching back, getting a little extra. That was 98. Up and out of the zone. Looks like 108.
How about 99 for you?
Headley back in 2012 hit 31 home runs, drove in 115 for the Padres. Not an easy place to hit for left-hand hitters.
He's been on all 3 times today, 2 walks and a homer. He is down this time. Nate Jones whistles one by, 2 out.
So Headley, who has much more power from the left side than the right, looks at a high fastball and doesn't really like it. The uppercut swing and no contact.
Castro singled against Jones. Now Gregorius and Headley with quick strikeouts to bring up Aaron Hicks, who has flied out to right twice in big spots and struck out once with the bases empty, and is a third of the way there right now. Strike 1.
Well, I'm sure Nate was surprised. The appeal to DJ Rayburn on a pitch that was thigh high over the middle of the plate. Occasionally what happens is you're looking at the bat. If you're the umpire, you don't see where the pitch winds up. That one had the whole plate.
Down, 1 ball, 1 strike on Hicks. He gave up the single to start this inning, but he's just looked unhittable the last 2 days.
These sliders absolutely crackling.
One and 2 on Hicks from Jones. Nate. It's a fly ball left field. Melky on the move, and he watches it fly away.
You would think that one more slider would end this at bat.
Where do you throw it?
In the strike zone. Down. Bye-bye. See you later. Have a nice Independence Day. Talk to you tomorrow.
1 and 2. Time call. Savoring the 4th of July. Aaron Hicks.
Has not been savorable to this point.
He was 3 for 3 yesterday, but was 0 for 19 his last 6 before that. 1-2. Fouled off. There was the slider.
Got it up and away from him where he could actually get the bat on it. Joe Girardi Former Major League catcher for a long time. And fine Major League manager.
Hicks gets another piece. Nick Jones trying to figure out what will do in Aaron Hicks. Fastball up here, maybe?
Yeah, after 2 sliders, I think you throw him an eye-high fastball.
He did. Hicks checked it up. So now what? Couple of sliders, high fastball. Where do you go now?
Well, depending on what Nate likes, I throw him another fastball. You're really not going to hang a fastball. So I'd try another one, just a little lower, maybe more tantalizing. Ooh, he's able to foul it off because just wasn't quite high enough. But a good battling at bat by Aaron Hicks, who's staying alive against a guy that is pouring it up there.
If Hicks were to reach, the tying run would come up to the plate. 2 on, 2 out. An error and a single, then a pair of strikeouts. 2-2 from Jones on the way. And he got him at 90 on a slider. Inning over on 3. Jones punch outs. Sox maintain the lead. 6-2. Chuck, thank you. 6-2 your scores. Sox with the lead thanks to a couple of home runs. Anderson and Navarro each with 2-run shots. Jason Coates, who scored a run today, swings through strike number 1 as the Yankees try to preserve their bullpen for later on in the series.
Jason with that base hit in 3rd inning, his 2nd major league hit, the first coming in Boston as he one-hopped one out of the field of play at Fenway.
You know, we were talking earlier about Ellsbury being a former Red Sox and Yankees player. You know, it doesn't seem in more recent memory that there've been that many, but there are some big names on that list. Guys like Wade Boggs, Roger Clemens, among others.
Kevin Youkilis,
yeah,
who was a good player, not in the Wade Boggs, Roger Clemens genre.
1-2 for Coates. Where was your favorite road park to pitch in?
Dodger Stadium.
Yeah?
beyond a shadow of a doubt. Some great moments at Dodger Stadium. Plus, it just seemed like the mound was closer. I mean, the Dodgers were already and always a pitching-dominated organization. So, for some reason, you seemed maybe a couple feet closer to the hitter, which always gives the pitcher a lot of confidence. I don't know if it was visual, but the mound was great. They understood pitching, they valued pitching, and because of that, they had great pitchers over the years, and that park was hard to hit the ball out of. And so, being primarily a high fastball pitcher, I would think that you need a big ballpark. That's why guys are successful now in the ballpark in San Francisco. Big ballpark, a lot of big ballparks on the West Coast. Dodgers have one of them, San Francisco another, San Diego to a certain extent another one of those big ballparks. And so for a high fastball pitcher, a big ballpark with room to roam in the alleys is the place you want to pitch. And for me, beat him 1-0 one time, and it was a thrill.
Fly ball for Coates, right center field, a long way, and not long enough. Nearly was the first home run in the career of Jason Coates.
Jason is a big, strong guy and almost takes this one out of the ballpark. But Hicks goes all the way back to the wall and makes the catch.
So one down for Anderson, who's 2 for 3 with a sac bunt, a home run, an infield single, and a ground out to short. Wind starting to pick up here at U.S. Cellular Field. Sox and Yankees playing game number 1 of this 3-game series.
And with Tanaka going tomorrow at 5-2 with an ERA in the low 3s, this was a huge ball game. Hopefully one that the Sox will tuck away. Just like we promised you earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. And in the second inning, working on 15 straight solo home runs and a 2-0 deficit, Tim Anderson comes up and hits his 4th home run of the year. That made it a 2-2 ball game. And that is our Miller moment. Broke his bat. He'll have to get another.
Sure did. Not a lot of more recognizable sounds in the world than broken bat.
That is a wonderful sound compared to the sound that CC Sabathia heard today on a couple of pitches. Not used to giving up home runs. He gave up the long one to Anderson and then another 2-run shot in the 5th inning to Deanna Navarro. That sound also not mistakable for a pitcher.
A couple of musket shots.
They were rockets.
2 strikes for Anderson. By your recollection, which player, when he hit the ball, sounded like he hit it the hardest? Which sound was most recognizable for you?
Well, Jim Rice for me, because he killed me. And because he hit the ball awfully hard, and he was an enormously strong guy. So I took to wearing earphones when he batted, so I couldn't hear the explosion off the bat. 21 for 39 lifetime. Yes, it was a slaughter.
That was back before earbuds. You brought out like a Walkman.
It was horrible.
Put it in your pocket.
Yeah. Let the fans listen to it.
Did you have one of those old Watchmen roaming video machines?
No, I was looking for
TV?
Financing and I couldn't find any. Boy, am I waiting for baseball's 2 biggest summer events.
You are?
Yep.
I think they're coming up, Steve. Maybe now. Gregorius off the bobble, safe. Anderson gets there. The speed down the line once again, an asset.
Yeah, they're gonna take a look at this one because it looked like the ball got there an eyelash ahead of Tim Anderson, but it's either the 3rd error of the game for Didi Gregorius, who's had a really bad day. or he's going to be out at first. We'll have to see.
I think he was safe, Steve.
Well, that would be good. Yeah, by that shot he was. So Didi has had a very poor day.
And by the way, Didi Gregorius, before this game today, had never had a multi-error game in his major league career. His first one comes with 3 anchored to it.
Yeah, they're not going to review it. And that will be the 3rd error.
Usually sure-handed shortstop, Didi Gregorius. So far, none of those errors have led directly to a run in this game. You flip the lineup card over, you never know what would change and how things would shake down, but no run has come across due directly to one of those 3 errors in this game. Eaton the bunt. Sessa scrambles over, falls, and Eaton with another infield hit.
Sessa did the splits, and we'll see if he's okay. He gave it a big effort to try to make the play, but his feet went out from under him as Adam Eaton with his 2nd hit of the day. This as close to a perfect bunt as you could get.
Adam Eaton's 21st infield hit, 4 more than anybody else in Major League Baseball. Tell you what, we thought that 1 and 2 at the top of the card might create some change for some period of time. It's been about a month now.
It appears that the best thing that happened with Adam Eaton was Tim Anderson, because it gave him a chance to display even more of his skills, the ability to pull the ball when he has to, make contact when Robin calls for it, and lay down a bunt.
2 on, 1 out for Abreu against Sessa.
And if Luis takes a look over into that bullpen, he will realize that as long as his inning goes, he's their man.
To paraphrase a Mel Brooks character, son, you're on your own. High and tight. 2-0 on Abreu. Todd Frazier, who's 4 times to the plate, have led him to be on base all 4 times, stands on deck. It's crushed foul by Abreu. He hit some of the hardest hit foul balls around.
Well, he would love to be able to just get one off the end of the bat for a base hit here. It's been a tough day for Jose.
A couple of strikeouts, a fly out. He's reached on one of those 3 errors against Gregorius. Nope, 3 balls and a strike. $7:10 tomorrow, game 2 of this series, Sox and Yankees. Sox hoping that they will be going for a series win in that one. Masahiro Tanaka and Carlos Rodon, your starting pitchers. Then Pineda Gonzalez in the finale on a Wednesday. Then an off day Thursday and a weekend series against Atlanta to close out the pre-All-Star break portion of the schedule. Broken bat flare left field. Gardner charging. He can't get there. Anderson humming around third. He scores!
There's one of those flares that he just drops in, driving home a run. That's his 50th of the year. Here comes Larry Rothschild to remind Cessa that it's him and him alone going to have to get out of here. And that ball was in off the plate, as were so many in this at bat, and Jose is able to get enough wood on it to drop it over the head of Gregorius in front of Gardner. And then, as they've done all day, the Sox run on Brett Gardner, who gets a whole lot on it for an off-balance throw. Anderson with great speed, cuts the bases perfectly. He said he owes that to his basketball past. Another insurance run, making it a 7-2 affair.
He's a state title winner in basketball his senior year of high school at Hillcrest High School in Tuscaloosa, Anderson.
And this one, Jason, fairly predictable. The Sox have won 6 in a row on Independence Day. So, I mean, you can get them on other days, but not on July 4th.
It would be un-American right now to beat the Sox on July the 4th.
Going for their 7th straight win.
2 on, 1 out for Frazier, who has had a marvelous day. 2 doubles, 2 walks, 2 runs scored. Last time Yankees and Sox played on Independence Day was 1995. Robin Ventura was in the lineup for the Sox. Don Mattingly played for the Yankees that day. It's a future manager convention.
And the Yankee pen starting to work. Richard Blyer.
See if he has to come in into a very rocky inning for the Yankees pitchers. Slider, ball and 2 strikes on Frazier. Eaton at second, Abreu at first. Ball and 2 strikes from Cessa. That's a liner to left. Frazier has another hit. Eaton has another run. It's an RBI single, and it's 8-2 Sox on the 4th of July.
Right now, the way this season is unfolding, one of the most important guys in this lineup to start to get hot is the man that has 3 hits today, Todd Frazier. He gets a fastball out away, hits it awfully hard. With 2 doubles, 2 scored, 1 driven in, and 3 hits. Todd Frazier has had a wonderful July 4th, as had the Sox, as they lead by 6.
Second game in a Sox uniform with 3 hits or more for Frazier. The first was a 4-hit day, a 2-homer day in Texas.
How's that BABIP looking now?
It's looking BABIP good.
Starting to rise a bit, isn't it?
Uh-huh. I mean, you figured with only Aaron Hill under 200 in a season BABIP wise, or he had the lowest BABIP of anybody, and it was right around the 200 mark. To see Frazier down near the 180s was just bizarre.
Considering that his lifetime batting average of balls in play was in the high 200s, you'd have to figure it even out.
Yeah, there's one season for Aaron Hill that was competing with Frazier's BABIP as it currently stands. For lowest all time is Cabrera. Has a 1-2 count on him, the former Yankee outfielder.
Well, pitchers and hitters know exactly when it starts to come to them after they've been struggling, and Todd Frazier just knew, and it took 1 at bat or the end of the game yesterday in Houston, where he felt back to what he wanted to feel. And today we're seeing the results of that.
Left center field for Melky toward the alleyway, but Gardner skates over. 2 out.
Second baseman, number 15, Brett Laurie.
Brett Laurie's had a nice day as well. He's got 2 RBIs, sac fly, RBI single, stolen base. Some bleach would be nice for him after the game for that uniform.
They're not going to be wearing these. They got a long time to clean them.
365 days to bleach the old 15.
Maybe longer, assuming the schedule will come out and tell us where we'll be.
Well, the Sox clubhouse guys could do it in about an hour.
360
so I think
days.
they're okay.
They should be fine.
Fouled back by Laurie. 2 strikes.
Now time for our White Sox upcoming schedule, brought to you by Travel Wisconsin. Plan your fun today at travelwisconsin.com, and the Yankees here for a couple more. Both night games. And then after an off day on Thursday, the Braves come to town. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then the All-Star break.
That's Sox South coming our way. Atlanta. Aaron Hicks squeezes the final out of the inning. Sox get 2 more. RBIs from Abreu and Frazier. It's 8-2. Sox lead. .11, 7 p.m. Central, and the very next night, don't miss baseball's biggest starts, the 87th All-Star Game, July 12th. Coverage begins at 6:30 p.m. Central Time.
And to finish it off with a flourish, Dan Jennings. So Shields for 6, a strong 6, then Albers, Duke, Jones, and now Jennings to finish it up. On for the 29th time, ERA 1.85 with a 3-1 record.
Great season for Dan Jennings so far.
It really has been. He's been a very durable left-hander, getting some pretty big outs and taking a little pressure off Zach Duke. You can't have too many left-handers in the pen, especially with guys that can get the ball over most of the time. And terrific ERA. I'd say the left-handed aspect of the pen with Duke and Jennings have been pretty good this year. Zach Duke is getting better and better. He had a good outing today, 1+ innings, a couple of strikeouts.
Abreu knocks it down. Jennings save.
Marvin Hudson said he was off the bag. That most likely will go as a base hit. We'll have to see. It's a good solid throw by Jose Abreu. He was wide of the bag. He's got some time to pick it up. Puts a little something on this throw. And then the question becomes, did he hit the bag or not? If he did, he's out by plenty. Marvin Hudson said no, he didn't. And I think Marvin is right. But he might have
kicked it on the way by.
He might have kicked it.
Yeah.
So he puts his foot down, just missing by a step, but then drags his foot.
Oh, he's already there, though.
Yeah, he's safe at first. Now the question will be the ruling. And it should be a base hit.
And it is.
So that's 2 hits for Rob Refsnyder.
Strike 1 to Jacoby Ellsbury. You're talking about Duke and his success this year. He's now today got a couple of lefties out and a right-hander out. He's been useful from both sides for Robin Ventura. In fact, has been better against right-handers. But when you're essentially the headlining lefty in the bullpen, you're going to have to face some lefties.
Well, the defining moment for Zach Duke came at Fenway Park. Pitching his way out of a bases loaded, nobody out jam.
Ellsbury socks it to center. Adam Eaton camps for out number 1.
And that game at Fenway for Zach Duke was just outstanding. You come into a ball game with the game on the line, no margin for error, and leave them loaded. Sox went on to win that one. Big game, big effort.
Helped the Sox to win 3 of 4 in that series, then beat Toronto and Minnesota in back-to-back series at home. Then the Houston series, they just took 2 of 3. And now an 8-2 lead against the Yankees here in the 9th. On the anniversary, by the way, of Lou Gehrig's famous speech. Happened on July the 4th. Luckiest man.
He is.
I didn't realize that until I was looking this morning, that was on Independence Day back in 1939.
Imagine your lineup having Gehrig and Ruth in the same lineup. That's why as a young player, and I first stepped into the old Yankee Stadium in 1973, got a chance to play in a ballpark with some of the greatest players that ever played the game as their home field. It was just, I mean, it sent a chill up your spine.
What was that feeling like?
Well, you came in, the first thing you noticed, something you'd seen on television a number of times, and then you're standing there and looking at this huge ballpark, and then your eyes are drawn to home plate, where you've heard and read so many stories about these great hitters, because the Yankees had just wonderful teams, dominated baseball for a long time. And it was something that you really can't forget. That first time you walk in there, it's like almost the first time you ever saw a major league field. And for me, it was Cleveland Stadium. My dad took me to a ball game. We were in the upper deck, and I remember looking down and seeing more green than I'd ever seen before. But Yankee Stadium was like that because of the greatness of the Yankees and those players, those great players down through the years.
3-2. Called strike 3. Jennings gets rid of Gardner. 2 out in the 9th.
A called third. Second time it's happened to Gardner. Second time where he walks away dejected.
0 for 5 today for Gardner. In fact, the top 3 in the card, a combined 0 for 13. Shortstop and past Anderson. Carlos Beltran with a single to put runners at the corners for McCann.
This one almost ends it. But off the glove and into left field. Another thing the Yankees always had, which was unlike any other team, was the matte black helmets. Not the shiny helmets that you saw all the way around baseball, but a distinct helmet that you remember Mickey Mantle wearing.
A lot of history in those uniforms. First and third, 2 out. McCann. Strike 1. Strike 2, not far behind. Oh, and 2. And the Sox celebrate Independence Day with a win, 8-2 over the Yankees.
It's a big offense today. James Shields winning his second game as a member of the Sox rotation. He went 6. Yonder Navarro with a big 2-run homer, following up a 2-run homer off the bat of Tim Anderson. A lot of thrills today, and the Sox continue to play very successful baseball.
Now 3 games over at 43-40 with that win.
James Shields, 6 innings, 5 hits, just 2 earned runs, a couple of walks and 3 strikeouts. He's thrown the ball much better, and it couldn't come at a better time as the Sox in the second half of the year try to heat it up. They're not conceding the division by any stretch of the imagination. They believe that there's playoffs in their future, and if James Shields can continue to throw it this way, they're going to be in great shape. Tim Anderson, since coming up from the minor leagues, has been a multi-hit per game performer. Over 50% of the games he's played in, he's had at least 2 hits. So a single and a home run today, driving in 2. And Tim Anderson, who continues to say that he's not a home run hitter, certainly is fooling a whole lot of people because he's not only hitting home runs, he's hitting them a long way.
Yeah, it's getting harder and harder to believe that Tim Anderson's not a home run hitter. But overall, I mean, the offense got great contributions from a couple of different spots in the order, including Todd Frazier, who's downstairs with Kip Lewis.
All right, thanks, guys. Todd, you know, coming into this, you guys have been playing well. Let me ask you about James Shields. Though he came in here, he struggled a little bit. He's had a couple of good starts. As a team, did you guys say anything to him to sort of keep his spirits up? Because it's obviously tough for a guy to join a new team in the middle of the season.
No, I think he understands what he needs to do. He got a little more fire today. He comes in there like a bulldog, and he doesn't like giving up hits. He doesn't like getting guys on base. You see his, you see it in his emotion, his energy, and and he figures it out. He gets mad, but at the same time, once he gets on that mound, everything's fine. There's nothing you can do. Just control what you can control.
When Tim Anderson came over, he moved right to the top of the lineup, moved Adam down. How has that helped you guys offensively?
Huge. Whether he swings at the first pitch or not, he always finds a way to get on base, hustles out balls. Even that last one, the guy made an error, beat a ball out at first base, gives me and Jose and a couple other guys opportunities to drive runs in. And when you put the ball in play, good things will happen.
You've obviously been able to hit the home runs in the early part of this season. How important is it for you to get that average up with 3 hits in a game like this today?
I think it's important in some ways. trying to help the team win is a different story. So at the end of the year, I know my numbers will be there. I'm just trying to figure out ways to, stay short and sweet to the ball, and today showed a lot.
Finally, you told me before the game, it's really just one game at a time for you guys. You guys haven't really had the emotional roller coaster, even though you struggled a little bit. How has that helped you guys?
A lot. We understand adversity. We got young guys coming up. We're trying to teach them the right way. They understand, we got to play all 9 innings, and you never know what can happen. And we've been through a lot this year with some games, some crazy games, and some fun games, and we're just trying to win at all costs.
All right, Todd, appreciate your time. Congratulations. All right, guys, let's go back up to you.
Kip, thank you, and thanks to Todd as well. How about that? I know my numbers will be there by the end of the year. That's the type of guy Todd Frazier is.
And they will be there. They've always been there. And so today, a lot of production down through the order, and Melky back in the lineup certainly helps.
Sox get a couple hits from Tim Anderson once again. Melky Cabrera with 2 as well. Todd Frazier 3 hits. Sox win 8-2. For our director, Jim Angio, producer Mike Leary, associate producer Dave Ross, tech manager Mark Harper, the executive producer Jim Corno Jr., he's Steve Stone, I'm Jason Benetti, saying so long from U.S. Cellular Field. Coming up next, Subaru Post-Game Live with Chuck and Bill. You've been watching Chicago White Sox baseball on Comcast Sportsnet. Enjoy your holiday.